Love isn't supposed to make you feel afraid. So why do you hesitate before sending a simple text? Why do you overthink every conversation with the person who once made you feel safe? Fear rarely replaces love overnight. It grows quietly, one disappointment at a time, one argument at a time, until you stop asking, "Do they love me?" and start asking, "How can I avoid upsetting them?" Today we'll uncover 11 reasons why love can slowly turn into fear and anxiety. Not to make you afraid of relationships, but to help you recognize when love has stopped bringing peace and started demanding emotional survival. Because healthy love calms your heart. It doesn't keep your nervous system waiting for the next emotional storm. 1. You stopped feeling emotionally safe. Every healthy relationship begins with one essential feeling: safety. Not the certainty that everything will always be perfect, but the confidence that you can be yourself without fear. When that safety disappears, anxiety quietly takes its place. You begin choosing your words more carefully. You hesitate before expressing your feelings. You wonder how they'll react instead of simply being honest. The relationship no longer feels like a place where you can rest. It feels like a place where you have to stay emotionally prepared. And once your mind stops feeling safe, it doesn't focus on connection anymore. It focuses on protection. 2. You start expecting conflict. There was a time when seeing their name on your phone made you smile. Now it makes you wonder, what might be wrong? Before they even speak, part of your mind is already preparing for disappointment. You replay recent conversations. You analyze their tone. You search for signs that another argument might be coming. This is what anxiety does inside a relationship. It teaches your brain to expect tension instead of connection. Instead of looking forward to being together, you start bracing yourself for what could go wrong. And when your mind is constantly waiting for conflict, it becomes impossible to fully relax. Eventually, your body starts learning a painful lesson. Love no longer feels peaceful. It starts feeling stressful. 3. Your brain connects love with stress. The human brain learns through repetition. If love is repeatedly followed by criticism, disappointment, or emotional uncertainty, your mind starts connecting the two. Without realizing it, your body reacts before your heart does. Your shoulders tense, your thoughts race, your stomach tightens. Not because you're in danger, because your brain has learned to expect emotional pain where it once expected comfort. That's when love stops feeling like a source of peace. It becomes something you mentally prepare for. And once your nervous system starts associating the relationship with stress, another quiet change begins. You stop speaking freely. You start speaking carefully. 4. You start walking on eggshells. At first, you don't even notice you're doing it. You pause before answering. You rethink simple messages. You avoid certain topics because they always seem to lead to tension. You tell yourself you're just trying to keep the peace. But peace built on silence isn't peace. It's fear. Little by little, honesty becomes risky. You stop saying what you really think. You stop expressing what you really feel. Not because your feelings changed, because you're afraid of what they might trigger. And when you begin hiding your truth to protect the relationship, something else quietly disappears. Your trust in yourself. 5. You begin doubting your own feelings. One of the most painful changes happens inside your own mind. You stop asking whether the relationship is hurting you. You start asking whether you're simply overreacting. Every emotion becomes something to question. Every concern becomes something to justify. You wonder if you're too sensitive, too emotional, too demanding. Instead of trusting what you feel, you begin looking for reasons to dismiss it. And that's how anxiety grows. Not because your feelings are wrong, but because you've stopped believing they're worth listening to. When you no longer trust your own emotions, your sense of peace slowly shifts into someone else's hands. And before long, Your emotional balance depends on something you can never truly control: their mood. 6. Their mood determines your peace. There was a time when your happiness came from simply being together. Now, it depends on how they're feeling. If they're calm, you relax. If they're distant, you become anxious. If they're irritated, your entire day changes. Without realizing it, you've started measuring your emotional well-being by someone else's emotional state. That's an exhausting way to live, because your peace is no longer yours. It rises and falls with every change in their mood. Healthy love brings stability. It doesn't make your nervous system wait for permission to feel okay. And when your emotional balance depends entirely on another person, something surprising begins to happen. You stop appreciating peaceful moments. You start treating them like rare rewards. 7. Calm becomes a reward instead of the norm. One of the clearest signs that fear has replaced love is how you define a good day. Nothing wonderful happened. There was no deep connection, no meaningful conversation, no special moment. You're simply relieved there wasn't a fight. Silence feels like harmony. The absence of conflict feels like happiness. But healthy relationships aren't built on relief. They're built on consistency. You shouldn't have to celebrate emotional stability as if it were a rare gift. When a peaceful day feels like an exception instead of the expectation, anxiety has quietly become part of the relationship. And after living that way for long enough, something even more painful begins to happen. You slowly stop recognizing the person you've become. 8. You start losing yourself. This doesn't happen overnight. It happens through small compromises that slowly become your new normal. You laugh less. You speak less. You stop doing things you once enjoyed. Not because you no longer love them, because you've become so focused on protecting the relationship that you've stopped protecting yourself. Without realizing it, your identity begins revolving around keeping the peace. Your needs become smaller. Your voice becomes quieter. Your world becomes narrower. And one day, you look back and wonder where the confident, joyful version of yourself went. When love costs you your identity, anxiety has already replaced the sense of safety that every healthy relationship should provide. And once you begin losing yourself, the relationship starts becoming the center of your entire world. 9. The relationship takes over your life. Without realizing it, the relationship becomes the center of everything. Your thoughts revolve around it. Your decisions revolve around it. Your energy goes into fixing problems that never seem to stay solved. Even when you're working, spending time with friends, or trying to relax, part of your mind is still thinking about the relationship. What did they mean by that message? Are they upset? Should I bring this up? Or should I stay quiet? Little by little, the relationship begins occupying more space than your own life. Your goals, your hobbies, your peace, your happiness. Everything starts revolving around keeping the relationship stable. And when your entire emotional world depends on one person, letting go becomes almost impossible. Because you're no longer holding on to the relationship alone. You're holding on to the life you've built around it. And that's why the next reason is so difficult to recognize. You stop loving who they are today. You start loving who they used to be. 10. You fall in love with the past. One of the hardest parts of an unhealthy relationship is that you're often no longer in love with what exists. You're in love with what used to exist. You remember how they looked at you, how easy it felt to laugh together, how safe the relationship once seemed. Those memories become the reason you stay. You keep believing that if you're patient enough, those days will return. But while you're holding on to the past, the present keeps asking a different question. Who are they today? Healthy relationships are built on consistent reality, not occasional memories. The more you compare today with yesterday, the more painful the distance becomes. And when hope becomes stronger than reality, one final fear quietly takes control. The fear of losing them becomes greater than the fear of losing yourself. 11. You fear losing them more than losing yourself. This is often the moment fear completely replaces love. You know the relationship is hurting you. You know you're no longer at peace. Yet the thought of leaving feels even more frightening than staying. Not because you're happy, because you've become emotionally attached to the hope that things will change. You begin protecting the relationship at the expense of yourself, your peace, your confidence, your identity. And that's when anxiety reaches its highest point. Because the relationship is no longer built on love alone, it's being held together by fear. The fear of starting over. The fear of being alone. The fear of letting go of someone you've spent so much of yourself trying to keep. Love should never make you feel like you're constantly preparing for the next emotional wound. It should be the place where your mind finds rest, where your heart feels understood, where you can be completely yourself without fear of saying the wrong thing. If, over time, love has turned into anxiety, don't ignore what that feeling is trying to tell you. Anxiety is often your mind's way of warning you that something no longer feels emotionally safe. That doesn't automatically mean the relationship can't change, but it does mean something needs to change. Because healthy love isn't built on fear, it isn't sustained by uncertainty, and it doesn't require you to sacrifice your peace just to keep someone close. If you recognized yourself in several of these reasons, don't ask only, "Do I still love them?" Ask something even more important. Do I still feel safe enough to be myself? Because the healthiest relationships don't ask you to choose between loving another person and protecting your own emotional well-being. Real love doesn't make you smaller. It gives you the freedom to become more of who you truly are. And the moment you stop confusing anxiety with love, maybe the moment you begin finding your way back to the peace you deserve.